Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we look ahead to the pick of the action from the November meeting at Cheltenham. As well as that, the boosts are back, our anti-post plays of BetVictor we will be revealing towards the end of the show, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Being joined by contrasting profiles this time around, Rixie is refreshed after he's had a week post-Breeders' Cup in Dalmar. Sam, you're not quite so fresh, not looking it though, because you're only just back from Gibraltar.
Yes, made it back in time for the show. It's a big week, which is really exciting. We'll touch on those boosts later as well, which I was heartily negotiating with our training team.
That's why you were over there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was literally the only reason I was there. Make sure we get the boost back. But ready to go. Cheltenham, really exciting. Obviously, rain, weather forecast, we'll get that out of the way now. Annoyingly, we're recording this Friday morning. The rain hasn't arrived yet, but I believe it is hitting the track. You drove from that direction,
through a
Kate.
lot of
They've
it.
had 7 mils.
7 mils overnight, but we've got a lot more to come today during racing. And I really hope it doesn't affect too many people that are going, because we don't want them to have a bad experience. Race goers, it's tough, isn't it? But we're going to make the best of it and try and find some winners.
It's tough for racegoers, it's tough for us, it's tough for clerks of the courses, Rixie. I'm actually going on Saturday, so I'm really hoping the Friday lot get the worst of it. No offence if you're going. And then our Saturday lot can just breeze in, but the ground will have opened up by that point, won't it?
Yeah, I'm also going, so I'm going to sing from the same hymn sheet there as well. So, look, we'll see. I think the only maybe slight positive is it'll be maybe a lot of rain in a short period of time. Might be that nice loose kind of ground the horses go through it, and it's not, the weather hasn't got cold yet, it's really mild, so the ground won't be getting kind of tacky and kind of tough work and stuff. So rare for me, I'm trying to be positive here. So a genuine soft ground that they get through. Look, that's what we want for National Hunt Race.
You can tell you're refreshed, you can tell you're probably back in business.
Last week was a survival week, so I'm ready to go again.
Back in business, ready to fire in plenty of winners as well. Before we get stuck into the action properly, a reminder, as always, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we kickstart with the 1:45 at Cheltenham, the Arkle Trophy Trial Novices Chase, 4-year-olds and over 2 miles. Now, July Flower it is who heads the betting for Henry de Bromhead, who of course won this race with Put the Kettle On in 2019, Rixie.
Yeah, and another mare. And a really interesting race. We've got 6 runners in. We've got runners from Ireland, we've got runners from France, we've got runners from Britain. Burdett Road, really classy ex-flat horse, having his first start over fences. Then we've got a French 4-year-old having his first start over fences as well. And then we've got a classy mare in July Flower who's considered good enough to run in the Grade 1 Mares Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival last year. And look, I think the market has got this right. I'm between the top 2. I'm not sure Burdett Road will take to chasing, but we'll see how he goes. Stencil, it's a tough ask for a 4-year-old on his first start, and Brentford Hope is also having his first start. So I think the market's got this right, and I'm with the mare. Just going to keep it pretty simple, but at the same time, if people wanted to say Be Aware is maybe the value bet against her, I can see that, but I'm just trying to get a winner on the board this week, and I do like her. I thought she was good at Limerick last time out. She took the fences really well, and this is her. She's got an interesting profile, this mare, because she was trained in France before by a guy called Michael Senior. Then she went to the Bromheads, then she went back, and now she's with Henry again. And this is her running in the French Champion Hurdle, which is actually 3 miles, 1 furlong. And given how well she ran here and how well she ran on, it was a little bit surprising that she didn't hit the line well in the Mares Hurdle at Cheltenham last year. Maybe she wasn't at her best, but that's all in the past, lads. Let's look to the future, and the future is now. This I think is her last season at Leopardstown, but I loved her first start over fences at Limerick. Now, they didn't go quick that day. I think the finishing speed percentage of the race was about 119%, but she looked fresh and well with herself, looked on great terms. But more importantly, I think she really looked to enjoy herself. Showed good jumping technique, a good range of quick feet. She was brave and she showed scope. So while I'm a little bit worried about Be Aware, could be pacier and more naturally quicker than her, the soft ground will help. And as we know, that 2-mile start on the chase track there at Cheltenham is up the hill. So it's a nice posse for her. So yeah, keeping it simple with the first race this week, and to go for a July winner in November.
Nicely done. July Flower, 6-5 heading the way. Now, I have to admit, I've left this race to one decide, because I was going to be with July Flower here, but then I started overthinking the entire race, and I thought, well, Be Aware, really, he's the fly in the ointment, and then so if he goes and wins this, then he could work up to being an Arkle horse. However, if he doesn't, and then he could turn out to be a Grand Annual horse, we know how good the Skeltons are with the type of horse with that profile. So it's a learning race for him. Burdett Road really should be vying for favouritism on official ratings and proven form. But like you, Rixie, we just don't know how he's going to take to fences. And I just,
And last time out at Kempton, it looked like he had been schooling over fences because he was quite big over the first few. So, yeah, it's a really interesting race. I'm really interested to see how the market goes, because I would say 6 to 5, just in terms of natural ability and ratings and weights and measures and whatnot. 6 to 5 is definitely as short as I'd like to go, but it's just the visual impression and the hunger that she showed for liking fences last time out. But what are you with, Boswell?
I didn't like the shape of the race, if I'm honest. I kind of had an argument with myself about it. I thought July Flower at 6 to 5, completely get why the horse is the principal market leader. You've made an interesting case there, Deck. Be Aware for me, I'd happily take on the ground. Only the one run on soft ground previously, so that's going to be a massive question mark for me. Burdett Road, I'm just not the biggest fan of. So I kind of was trying to go around the houses, and we've switched roles here. You've picked a short price favourite. I'm going to try and go for a value loser, as you'd say. And I thought Brentford Hope at 16s wasn't without hope to at least try and finish in the first two. Harry Derham's horse was entered up at Utox. It didn't run. I think it was a bruised foot or something. So you'd like to think the horse is fairly forward in the sense that should be fit enough for seasonal reappearance. And obviously going over fences is interesting. And we know his best form comes on a softer surface. So that box is very much ticked. And Harry's having a good time of things as well at the moment. So I was just trying to reach for it. It's a very small stakes play for me. I always back everything I put up, but it will be a small stakes play as just a bit of an each way play at 16s to try and make the frame. But I thought it was certainly an interesting race, but from a betting perspective, quite a challenging one. I know a few Shrewdies out there got the value of July Flower, because I think a few firms had that horse priced way too big, I'd say, earlier on in the week. But yeah, ground will be key here, and I thought Brentford Hope was just a bit of a dart in an interesting contest. One of my favourite horses of all time won this going back in time, Alfaroff. Has a really interesting roll of honour, actually. You can see how much it's changed. I mean, I think Paul Nicholls won about 5 in a row of it going back through time. And obviously we mentioned Put the Kettle On as well, who was a good winner for Henry. So, yeah, it'll certainly be informative, if not the easiest betting heat.
And another grade to have won this race was Loda Sud last year for the Skeltons, who won the same race at Stratford that Be Aware won on his most recent start as well. So stats are plenty there. Thank you, Ben, producer, for that extra stat as well. I'm not even going to claim that, but really interesting opening contest for us as we move on to the 220 at Cheltenham, the Paddy Power Gold Cup handicap chase, Premier handicap 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 4. So, of course, the feature on Saturday. Il Ridotto is in here, back to defend his crown. However, it is the top weight Jaguar who heads the market, Sam.
Yeah, who goes off favourite here? Obviously, at the moment, we've got a clear favourite in Jaguar, but we obviously put these prices up quite early in terms of when they go through. These kind of markets will be very vibrant. There'll definitely be some significant shorteners. I actually noticed already we'd seen a bit around for Venetia's right at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's the Mudlark angle, and I completely get that and can see why. But of those towards the front of the betting, Jaguar's certainly interesting, but 7 to 2, I thought, not for me. Il Ridotto, I know he has won on soft, but I think the ground, he would be one of the ones in my head that would prefer a sounder surface to be seen at best effect. Panic Attack, I've never really quite warmed to. So for me, I started to go through the trainer stats, and you will not find a more informed trainer than Sammy Thomas at the moment. 71% strike rate, last 7 runners.
Sammy Thomas.
5 have won.
Never heard him referred to as Sammy.
I think we could reinvent him as that. It suits him.
Right. There's a lot of Sams. There's too many Sams.
There are too many Sams. Yeah. You've got to differentiate yourself somehow.
But this horse has got a really interesting profile. Now, I think you can go and look at the profile and suggest maybe 2-4 isn't where he's been seen at best effect. So the trip is possibly the question mark. But we'll watch the clip of him at Newbury last season, and he just gets Sean Bowened here, doesn't he? Because coming from
this is the Booster Bob race.
This is the Booster Bob race at Newbury. And listen, rider of the season from Sean, but it's nothing against this horse, who I think obviously, barring this miracle ride, what was he, nearly 880 to 1, I think, comes home and just gets him chinned. And I think he's just run a really good race here. He's definitely more than capable. incredible. His record first time out, you probably, I'm not so sure, but I think the form that the Yard are in, you just cannot discount him at all. And I kind of felt like if there was one that I thought the algorithms might push off as favourite, I thought he was the one that I'd be keeping an eye on. But it's a good renewal. I always think it's interesting that the Irish have such a poor record in here. And obviously the race is being run, we should mention, in memory of Edward O'Grady, who was the last Irish trainer to win this race with Tranquil Sea, going back. Yeah. That's quite a long time ago. Was it 2012 maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I think it's interesting because the Irish runs in here did nothing for me. When I had a look at a couple of them in here, there was nothing that I really wanted to back. So I've ended up towards the front of the betting, but I wouldn't be shocked if that horse goes off favourite.
Considering you are only just back here on the back of a few hours sleep, your stats and your historical knowledge of
let's hope they're accurate, Kate. That's the only thing I can say.
Very
say it with confidence. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this race. It's a, you know, we were lucky enough to sponsor it for a few years, and it is still, for me, a real marker for the jump season kicking underway. And with the ground finally changing, let's hope no more match races for the rest of the season or walkovers.
No, exactly. We've had a few, haven't we, to start the season. So that is long in the distant memory then when we're looking at this race, Rixie, because we've got a load of runners to go at.
Yeah, we do. I don't know about you guys, but I thought the race did revolve around Jaguar. You know, he's second season chaser, Cheltenham Festival winner, you know, course form. He's kind of got that sexy profile for the race. But I know the third horse of Alan King's that he beat at the Cheltenham Festival went on to win at Ayr. But I thought he was only fairly treated. And we actually did a stable tour with Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerriero on attheraces.com this week. And they said this fella's improved physically, which surprised me because he is a big horse anyway. So I'm just wondering, you know, could he be a little bit vulnerable just on his first start of the season because he's such a big horse, and it sounds like he's made progress again. But I do think he is the horse to beat, especially with the ground coming. It looks like it's going to come up soft. I think soft ground will definitely suit him better than Il Risotto and Vincenzo. But I wasn't sure about him being as well handicapped, and I just thought I'd have a little bit of a swing at the prices here, although he's only 10-1. I think he'll get bigger on the day, but I'm with Holy Smoke, even though it looks like Harry Skelton has discarded him for Panic Attack. Now, look, he does come here on the back of I thought it was a marginal career best at Cheltenham at the October meeting. I just thought he looked in great terms with himself. He travelled really nicely. He jumped quite well, and he just looked on good terms with himself. Now, going to 2 out, he looked like he was going to absolutely bolt up at Cheltenham, and then he just a combination of he either didn't stay or he needed the run, but the way he goes through a race, it shapes like he's worth a go. And this is him last year behind Resplendent Grey, and that was like a bit like Sam leaving Popworld, I think, that night there, all fours coming out, and, you know, just didn't he made a complete Horlicks of it that day. But that form looks good. I would say since then his jumping has absolutely got better, and look, while the ground, he's got a lot of his form is on kind of good to soft, goodish ground. The ground getting really, really, really soft is a bit of a worry, but he's by Black Sam Bellamy. He's got lots of horses that go on soft ground. His dam is a soft ground winner as well, and just the fact that he's kind of got form over further, that probably the soft ground is going to help him in terms of bringing his stamina more into it, because there's a couple in here probably have a little bit more natural pace, a little bit more natural toe for him. But I just thought coming here on the back of a run under his belt was big, because 8 of the last 10 winners of this race have had a run coming into the race. So I wanted to be with a horse that had a run, although I think you will get bigger than 10-1 available there.
I wanted to slag you after the Popworld comment, but having a look at the horse's profile, I instantly went, ooh, ground. But a winner over 3 miles in Sandown soft would suggest to me that that's not going to be an issue for this horse.
Yeah, I hope so, although Sandown Chase Track always rides better than the hurdles track, doesn't it? So quite significantly. So yeah, look, it's worth a go. And to be fair to him, if it was good ground, I wouldn't have picked him, because I probably don't think he would have had the toe. But I could just see him maybe under Keelan Woods, who I think style of riding will really suit this guy. If he can just get into contention going to 2 out, I think he'll stay up the hill better than quite a few in here, especially given he's had a run under his belt.
Yeah, he's 10-1 in here as well. But as you say, we saw that mistake that he made behind Resplendent Grey last year. There you go, yeah.
You should know that horse. It's trained by Ollie Murphy.
I know, and I've asked him a million questions about that horse already this year, so I really should just be able to roll it off the tongue straight away. But Holy Smoke, weirdly, I can roll that one off the tongue. But yeah, for all that he was all at sea then, sprawling on landing, he managed to save himself and still run well a la Pop World. So there you go then. So I'm going to leave you two with your selections because I am with Il Ridoto here. I love this race from a trends perspective. It found us the winner last year with Il Ridoto. And again, he ticks the most boxes. Now we're looking at him last time at Chepstow when he finished second. Now this is actually the same race he ran in last year before going on to win the Paddy Power Gold Cup. He finished 5th in the race last year. Now it was a small field this time around, only the 4 runners. He went there without the headgear. We know so many of Paul Nicholls' horses are needing the runs. Look how clever he was at the last there. Harry Cobden asked him for a really big one. He put down, the horse used his brain, knowing it was just too long at that point. Probably did cost him the momentum, but at this point, he just ties up then. And he still ran a really solid race. So hopefully he'll have a good chance of going back to back because, again, you look at the trends for this race. Ideally, you want a 7-year-old. He's now an 8-year-old. For all that, it feels like he should be about 10. How many of these types of races? How many of these types of races he is actually running? But he is only an 8-year-old. Ideally, you want a rating between 141, 147. Ridden prominently is so key to this race. No matter how much pace is on, it just seems to hold up in this. 1 run to the name of the campaign is also key. That was the key to him for making the difference in this race last year. So Il Ridoto, I know he's 5-1, but understandably so, he should be vying for that favouritism, in my opinion. And Il Ridoto is the way to go with the headgear refitted as well. So I'm hoping that he will be able to come good. Do let us know in the comments section below your own selections as we move on to the 2:55 now at Cheltenham handicap hurdle for the 4-year-olds and over 3 miles. Now, I have requested this race. I'm going to leave the lads with the 145. I'm going to happily row in with the 255 because I just thought there was more of a betting angle in here with Gow Road, who, let's have a see, what price is he? There it is, 8-1. 8-1 in a super competitive race. Long draw, I love. Of course, he ran really well in that Pretemps qualifier when finishing 4th last time out. However, I just wonder about the ground for him. Supremely West, probably the right favourite, but Gow Road was the one for me, who just looked to be overlooked in the betting at his beloved Cheltenham, where he does not run anywhere else apart from Cheltenham. So, of course, he's going to rock up here. Such a consistent horse, running to marks in the 140s. Apart from the last twice, finished 8th in the Grade 1 Stayers Hurdle and then 11th in the Pretemps qualifier at this track at the October meeting. However, those runs have seen his mark come down £2. Such a consistent horse. Love this track and trip so much. Soft ground does not inconvenience him at all, unlike plenty of his rivals in this race who will be inconvenienced. And I just thought he was overpriced at a nice price of 8-1. Again, do let us know in the comments section below your own selections for that really competitive 2:55 contest as we move on to the 3:30 at Cheltenham, the intermediate handicap hurdle for the 3-year-olds and older over 2 mile 5. Now, this does feel like a little bit of a throwback to yesteryear, a pipe-trained favourite at the November meeting with Durancon at 7-2 in this one, Rixie.
Yeah, and I'm with him as well. I'm going to keep this race pretty simple again. This guy is hugely interested in stepping up to 2.5 miles for the first time in his career on pedigree. He's by a stallion called Freeport Lux, who's had plenty of horses over 2.5 and 3 miles in soft ground. And he's a half-brother to the Jitmaker, a horse trained by BetVictor racing ambassador Jamie Snowden, a horse who was finished 2nd in the Kim Muir and I think 3rd in the Scottish National. So on both sides of his pedigree, everything about him suggests going up to 2.5 miles is going to bring out improvement, along with the fact he's a second season hurdler. And look at him here going to the last. He's got plenty in the tank, jumps that well, a little bit to his left. That's a bit of a feature of him, actually, that jumping to the left and running down hurdles to the left. But look how he moves there in front. Not the most graceful of movers. And this is our first mention of the Michael Flatley for the National Hunt season. But, you know, I think not the more rain that comes, the better. But he's clearly a horse who likes to get his toe in. You know, I wouldn't like to see him get completely bottomless just because he's stepping up in trip for the first time. But I do like him. I think he'll go really close. But look, the market suggests that. The only worry I do have about him is sometimes when the ground gets really, really soft at Cheltenham, they discard the inside line. And sometimes everything about him likes to go left-handed. So I just hope he doesn't kind of jump himself into the slower kind of ground if that happens. So we'll see how we go. Jack Tudor will need to be on his mettle for that. But I think stepping up and trip, you know, he's really interesting on pedigree. But I'm going to have 2 darts in this race, if that's all right, because I wanted to give another horse that I mentioned at a big price, given I put up a couple of favourites here. But Royal Rambler of Emma Lavelles is a really interesting horse, given his dam was a Group 1 winner, a Grade 1 winner, I should say. I need to get the flat out of my brain. Given she was a Grade 1 winner over hurdles in France. This guy is a really likeable son of walk in the park. He's got a lovely way of going. He's quite a solid jumper for a horse that doesn't have an awful lot of experience. And, you know, this was a good run under a penalty this day with the first 2 home pulling miles clear. The horse in the green there, the winner's a horse called the Jukebox Kid, trained by Ben Pauling, who won 2 weeks ago at Carlisle, albeit over fences. But look how far clear they've come in the 3rd horse there. I think he is absolutely overpriced. Now, bit of a weird one here. Emma Lavelle started the season really well. I think she had a really good October. And then November so far, I don't think they've come really close to having a winner. I think she might have had a couple of seconds. So just hope there's nothing into that. Like, surely a trainer's form or a stable's form can't just fall off a cliff like that. It's probably more of a case that the horses that they run haven't been good enough. But he's really interesting at a big price given his pedigree, and he's got a likeable way of going. So yeah, I'm going to have 2 darts in this race, Duracon and Royal Rambler.
You are allowed that. 72 about Duracon and Royal Rambler at 14-1. Yeah, I think Emma Lavelle, she had that really smart winner, didn't she, at the October meeting in itself?
too.
I can't remember the name, to be fair, but yeah.
Harry Cobden Road.
Yeah, really nice winner at the October
I think she had 7 or 8 winners in October, so...
Yeah, so you just need it
Just thought I'd mention it, but yeah.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Cover all your bases.
Correct.
It's
never my fault when the horses lose. It's either the jockeys, the trainers, the ground, the clerk of the course. Never my fault.
It's part of a job, isn't it? It's just finding excuses, Sam. So as long as we've got those bases covered before the race, then that's all that matters sometimes.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see the price of this favourite here. Is it a wind up as well, Deck, I noted. And the only thing I kind of wondered was, obviously, it looks like the best form for the horse has come at Newbury. Just with the track, Cheltenham, you're fairly happy?
No, he ran well at Chepstow last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did. So
quite undulating. But yeah, look, fair point, he hasn't run there.
I'd be curious to see just how short this horse goes. Will we get a proper old-fashioned pipe gamble? We shall see. At the prices, I didn't want to back the horse, for all I have plenty of respect, but Cap Boy for me was just the most interesting runner when I was going through the field.
Murphy trained?
Is Ollie Murphy trained now? Had just the one run for him at Perth where it was a facile winner running out a 7th length winner and put up a fair few pounds for it, but deservedly so. But where's the ceiling to this horse? And I was reading about the trainer comments when Paul Nicholls had the horse, and it was very much a chaser for the future. But Ollie clearly feels that there's business to be done over hurdles, and I think it could be really interesting, this horse. And obviously we get the Brucey bonus, don't we, with Sean Bowen riding, which is, you know, worth its weight in gold, it's fair to say, especially in races that are going to be so competitive like this. The softer ground is going to pose no issues as well, plenty of ticks in that box. So I just thought, what were we, 8-1? Yeah, I thought it was an each way stab in a super competitive race where potentially I think the favourite could end up taking a bit more out the market if people end up siding with Duracon.
There you go, nice way to play it. And I did ask Ollie midweek about whether or not he thought that Catboy should have more in his mark, more mileage.
And he said yes.
He did, funnily enough. Some cracks he said no.
Yeah, good. I thought you were setting me up for a fail there.
No, he still thinks there's plenty to come from him and still doing.
He's one I think will want all the rain to come, only because I think that ground was actually heavy when he won at Perth last time out. And I'm going to even help you here. The horse he beat that day won his next race.
Oh my God!
He beat by 7 lengths as well. Yeah.
There you go.
Form boosts are plenty. Yeah. So yeah, wishing Catboy all the best at 8-1. However, I am with my old boss, with Friendship, not the horses, my old bosses, and Hobbs and White are my old bosses there. So hopefully Friendship will be able to back up his own success from last time out. Now we're looking back at him at Chepstow when he won on the 6th of November 2024. So this was actually 5 runs ago, second start of last season. Now he was sent off as the 11-10 favourite in a maiden hurdle over 2 mile 3. Now this was his second start of the campaign, and this was a day where he really just stamped himself as a potentially smart type, despite the workmanlike win finding plenty for pressure on the step up to 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. He was only 4 at the time as well, so he has just got better and better since then, including that clear career better last time out at this track. He's up £8 for that win, but again, there still looks to be plenty more to come from him as he just continues to grow and develop, and I thought he could go in again here. So French ship it is for me at 5 to 1. I know, exactly. This is one of those I really have to make sure I enunciate and pronounce perfectly at 5 to 1. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comment section below. Up next, it's a Greatwood Hurdle. On to Sunday's feature race now at Cheltenham, the Greatwood Handicap Hurdle, Premier Handicap, 3-year-olds and over 2 miles and half a furlong. So as competitive as always, Rixie. We've literally just had the declarations through now. Yeah, and Iberico Lord, my selection, is in there, although I would like to kind of have a deeper look just to see if there's pace in the race, because I think pace really suits this lad, because he's a really strong stayer over 2 miles. Obviously won the Greatwood 2 seasons ago. He's significantly higher, and then he also won the Betfair Hurdle at Newbury, and I thought this day was good. He beat Lloyd de Sud, didn't he? That form obviously looks a little bit better now for all. Lloyd de Sud improved massively over fences, but he was given a good ride by Nico this day, and you know, when this horse is on song, he's a dynamite jumper, but I do think he needs 2 things. He needs really soft ground and he needs a pace to run at, and you know, he was good this day. I do like him. I can't stress enough how soft ground is a massive help to him, because even this day, if you go back and watch the early and mid stages of the race, he was a little bit in top gear. I think Nico was just sitting into him, but look, the further he went, the better he looked, and look how far clear they've come of the third. So need all that rain to come for one, and I also need Nicky Henderson and his team at Seven Barrows to work a little bit of magic and get him back to his sparkling best, because they sent him over fences last season and it didn't really work. Now, I think he did win over fences on debut, but then he fell second time out, and then after that his form kind of tailed off. So, you know, I'm just hoping the trip to Martinstown, you know, refreshed, you know, a bit of Rancho.
Did you go there last week by any chance?
No, I could have done with it, to be fair. I could have done with it, but you know, a bit of Rancho Relaxo, a bit of love and care. I'm hoping that will all get him back to his best. If it does, you know, I think even off his current mark, he's worth a go. Look, we shouldn't forget the supplemented this horse for Champion Hurdle once upon a time, so that would suggest that a handicap is still within his reach. So just need a little bit of positivity, given connections in the market. But if all the rain comes, I think he's got a little bit of a squeak in an open race. Yeah, definitely watch out for the betting with Iberico Lord in here, Sam. It's going to be it's just going to do a lot of telling, isn't it? And of course, we don't know what the final lineup's going to be, because we're going to have to wait to see what the ground does. Yes, which is going to be interesting. And when I went through the race, there's loads you can make cases for, but I was trying to find something that I thought, oh, this is going to be probably the outsider of the field, and I'm pleased to see No Ordinary Joe's going to run here, formerly in those JP McManus Silks, but now with Faye Bramley. We've spoken about her a few times on this show through the flat season, and now as the jumpers kick in. She's definitely a trainer that's got a knack of maybe bringing horses back, or just being able to find that spark again. And this horse is interesting, and I like the fact that it's had a pipe opener since moving yards at Uttoxeter. That was a quiet run, if we're honest. There wasn't too much to show there, and you have got to go back to the Martin Pipe really in 2023, when finishing second that day, and that was off a marker 139, a couple of pounds below that now. But I've just got a funny feeling that it's a sort of horse that could pop up, and win purposes would probably be a real challenge. But I really like the each way angle there. Just had a couple of runners go in at overpriced odds, and I felt like in a race like this, you know, it will probably suit. Soft ground won't be an issue. It's gone well previously at Cheltenham as well, so there was a lot to like. Doesn't she train out of AP McCoy's yard in Lambourne? Ooh. Yes. So given they've got a ex-JP McManus recruit, this could be a stable that maybe look to land a couple of touches as we go forward. I don't know her backstory. Someone told me now, and we'll have to look this up and see if it makes the final cut, but I think she's got a show jumping background, and she's helped AP's young daughter an awful lot in her early career in eventing and show jumping and stuff like that. And I think part of that was, you know, being allowed to train here. That was all part of that deal. So she's definitely got a knack for it. I've been pretty impressed, and like I say, I think it's just interesting that if you're getting these high caliber
recruits that maybe just need a change of scene, a bit more of a one-to-one when it's a smaller yard. Sometimes that can really spark a revival, and hopefully at a big price I can get in the frame.
Yeah, hopefully so, for an ex-JP, a current JP for you. So I'll leave you two with both of those two, because I'm going to have two selections in this, because I'm just really worried about potential non-runners, especially when we've had all the rain last night into today, into Friday morning, whether or not the ground opens up today, opens up tomorrow as well, and who actually takes up this engagement, because of course on Sunday, therefore, the ground is going to be at its worst because we sit on the same track throughout then. So Celtic Dino was going to be my first selection because, of course, in form. We talk about the yard operating at such a high percentage strike rate at present already this season. But I just wonder about Celtic Dino because of a comments in midweek whether or not he'll actually run. So pointless if I put him up if he doesn't go and run now. So for the sake of this show, my main selection is now going to be Mirabad, who certainly won't mind conditions whatsoever. On Stable Davy for Dan Skelton. And we know the kind of job that the Skeltons can do with a runner like this, especially on stable debut as well. So I'm hoping that'll be the case again. Now, we're looking back at him 3 starts ago when he finished third at Ascot in November of last year. This was a really competitive race, won by Arkle Risk. Al Nalam was back in second. Mirabad was 3.5 lengths back in third, when trained by Dr. Newland and Jamie Insole. Now, this was off a mark of 120. Now, he followed this up off the same mark at Cheltenham over 2 mile 1 at the December meeting before one final start in the big Premier handicap hurdle at Newbury. So he returns off a mark of 129. Clearly he has been aimed for this, and I'm hoping that he'll find his usual improvements that most horses find since switching to the Skelton. So it is going to be Mirabad for me, but also if Celtic Dino goes, I will also be having a little bit of a saver on him as well. So that is the Greatwood Hurdle on Sunday. But Sam, we have some anti-post boosts to be looking at again this week.
The boosts are back. And how we're going to do these this season is we're going to try and every week have something that's either topical or something that one of us particularly likes. And I got some feedback from people, and sometimes they said, we could be a bit too clever, was what some people suggested with our anti-post selections. I thought I thought that was a little bit unfair. So I spoke to the...
Hold on a minute, that sounds like a compliment. I'm going to take that.
That's a backhanded compliment. I'll definitely take it.
You can take it how you want. So we were gone through, and I was chatting to the traders, and I was like, oh, what sort of horse have we seen a lot of interest in recently? And there was a really, really obvious one to boost. And we're going to go all the way to March to the Supreme Novices, because at Carlisle we saw what I think was probably the most impressive performance so far this season for a novice with My Daddy Paddy. We were 6-1, which was incredibly short when you think about that. We are now a market-leading 9-1.
Ta-da.
Now, to avail of this, you can do it in different ways. We've made it as easy as possible. You can either scan the QR code you'll see it appearing on the screen. If you're watching this on X or on Instagram, you can use the link that will be there. If you're watching on YouTube, just literally scroll down to the description and the link will be there as well. And it will take you to our special Weekend Winners microsite, which, as if by magic, appears here. And you will see that 9-1 is available from a very short 6-1, and 9-1 is the joint biggest price out there. You won't find it any bigger. And we're going to go through the season and have a good go, but I must say, if you're a times person, I was reading, the times were very impressive of this horse. I think 11 seconds quicker than the other division of the novice, and visually I really, really like the run. So yeah, we're going to have a good go this season, and we'll go all over the place. We'll try and get some pre-Christmas ones in as well.
Sorry to put you on the spot. How many points bigger is it than the second biggest price?
Go to Odds Checker and have a look, Mr. Rix. But we are out there at 9-1.
Trying to help the viewers.
It's a big price boost, trust me.
That is a big price boost. Out to 9-1 for such a talking horse. Like I say, 6-1 does seem a bit skinny and a bit mad for a race at this stage, but rightly so, how he is priced up. But that boost then out to 9-1, a whole 3 points being added there. So make sure to head to the BetVictor website or scan the QR code to take advantage of that boost. Up next, our best bets for the weekend. Best bets of the weekend time. Rixie, you're up first.
Yes, and we've discussed all three this week already, and the nap is going to be Juraquan in the 3:30, the intermediate hurdle. Like I said, Hugely interesting stepping up in trip, given his pedigree suggests he's going to love it, being a half-brother to Jitmaker horse. He was second in the Kim Muir and third in the Scottish National. If all the rain comes, it doesn't look like it'll bother him. He moves like a horse who wants soft ground, and he's got form already in soft ground. Second season hurdler for the pipe. So yeah, an awful lot to like for him. He's going to be the nap. The next best then is going to be Ho Jolie Smoke. I hope I've got that right, because I'm...
I know you question it, that horse. Every time you say his name, you do question it yourself.
Yeah,
please tell me
so
about
my
that, right?
dyslexia is kicking in every now and again, thinking I'm wrong. But I think we'll probably get a bit bigger than 10-1. Yeah. I just think he's interested because he had a marginal career best at the October meeting at Cheltenham here last time out. Looked on great terms with himself. The soft ground is a worry in terms of him handling and maybe jumping his best out of it, but at the same time, it's going to bring his stamina into play. And, you know, he's a really likeable horse, active, goes forward, and I think Keelan Woods, with his good pair of hands, will suit him really well. So hopefully Keelan gets a good spin out of him and he can at least run into the places. And then the long shot, I'm actually going to go for Royal Ramble in the same race as Juricon. I don't like doing it, but I was struggling, scratching around for a long shot this week. Like I said, his dam was a Grade 1 winner in France. He's by Walk in the Park, you know, the National Hunt Stallion of the moment. Really likeable horse. He's got a lovely way of going, jumps well, second season hurdler as well. And although Emma Lavelle's November hasn't been as good as October, she did start the season red hot form, and I'm hoping that there's nothing untoward with that form. So he will do for me for the long shot.
Nicely done. I mean, I love going in the same race for a long shot as well as even my nap on my next best bet, and stay tuned for that potentially. But Sam, before we talk about mine, your own, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Ireland for my nap because we've got a very, very good card, haven't we, over at Navan? And I mean, crikey, there's stars all over the show there. But the Fortier Chase over the Grade 2, 7 runners. But you've got Marine Nationale in there who makes the market. And I love Marine Nationale, but this ground's going to be bordering on unraceable, I'd guess, looking at the weather charts. Heavy ground at the moment at the time of recording, which should play into Dino Blue's hand.
The Princess will love it.
Girl power to the fore. She's going to get a huge pull, obviously, with the allowance. She handles the ground. She ended the spring, didn't she, winning, I think, the last 3 of her last 3 starts. So as long as she can come out well fresh, I think she's got a cracking chance. And you're getting a prize, I think, 130 at the time of recording. Then we're going to go for my next best, where I think I'm going to go to the Paddy Power here and go for Vincenzo to hopefully keep Sam Thomas's great run of form going. The trip is possibly the one question mark, but everything else to me suggests that can go really well and won't mind the underfoot conditions. And then my long shot, I was struggling a bit this week for long shots, as I seem to do every week. But Cap Boy for me and Ollie Murphy, Sean Bowen, I really hope this horse can follow up on the Perth win, confirm the fact that that form looks actually better than probably the standard race at Perth, and just keep going, because I think a full season over hurdles could be really interesting just to see how good this horse is. And if there's a bit more juice in that mark, 8-1, is it a long shot? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm putting it up anyway.
Yeah, there you go. And you made a good case as well, a very cogent case, but I love your nap. Of course, she's still my WhatsApp photo, actually, is the Princess Dino, so hopefully she will go well then at Navan on what does look a stellar card. However, my own nap is going to come at Cheltenham. This is going to be French Ship in that 3:30. Honestly, between you and your Ho Jolie Smoke and me and my French Ship, we really are playing with fire, it feels like, this week. But hopefully he can still win this super competitive race that we've got. Of course, he was a course winner at this track over 1 furlong shorter. Over 2 mile 4 last time out at the October meeting. That was a clear career best from him. So back to this track, up £8. Still looks to have plenty more to come from him. Il Ridotto is going to be my next best bet in the hope that he can go back-to-back in the Paddy Power Gold Cup handicap chase. He is the horse that is ticking the trends boxes for the race. Now, of course, the key to him last year was getting the run into him before going to this meeting at Cheltenham. That saw him come to fruition and being able to win. He's had the same prep this time around, the same Chepstow contest where he arguably ran better in it this year, gets a headgear fitted again. And then risking the ground also in the Paddy Power Gold Cup handicap chase. Now, I don't think he's necessarily good enough to win this. And we talk about the Skeltons and how mob-handed they are. And the fact that Harry Skelton has chosen Panic Attack, they never choose wrong. I genuinely think the Skeltons get it more right on jockey bookings for Harry than Ballydoyle even does. They just never, ever miss. For all that you can think that your horse will have a great chance against the seemingly first string, No, they just don't get it wrong. But Risk in the Ground is just way overpriced, probably as a result of that as well, to be able to run into a place. So I'm hoping he will be able to do so. Tristan Durrell takes £3 off his back. Of course, he won on him last time out at Newton Abbot with Making All. So I really hope that he makes all, well, at least rides him prominently again this time, and they revert to that because he used to be a hold-up performer. So hopefully Risk in the Ground will go forwards. Right, that is everything from us on this week's show. So a big thank you to you for watching, to the lads for all of their hard work. Make sure to head to the BetVictor website to take advantage of those boosts. And we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview Haydock and Ascot.